Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Attack and Productions. Fluff here, coming back at you with another deck profile. This is the deck that I used this last Saturday at our locals. I ended up going second. I lost in the last round to SS4 Goku Vegeta. That deck is incredibly strong, but I think this is the other red deck in the format that is really going to kind of take over. So before we get into it, make sure to do all the YouTube algorithm stuff, like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything you want to see us do, let us know in the comments below. So getting into the leader, it's very similar to an old Wish leader. On the front side, you can't attack. You can't include non-red battle cards. And you can only include up to 6 Dragon Balls in your deck. So on the leader, basically you tap the leader, you get to search your life and or deck for up to 2 Dragon Balls, add them to your hand, and then once you have 6 Dragon Balls in your Z energy, you can draw one, you restand your leader, you restand your energy, you flip the leader over. On the back side of the leader, we've got Syn Shenron. Auto when this card attacks, draw 1. And then for activate main, you get to choose one of your Shadow Dragon cards and then one other battle card and or unison card on the field. The chosen cards gain minus 15,000 power for the turn. So this is a great way to neg out. It's a really flexible ability. You can end up choosing 2 of your battle cards to neg out, which you'll see why that's important a little bit later on. Or you can choose one of yours, one of your opponents, one of yours, one of your opponent's unisons. It's just got a really flexible effect on it. So that's our leader. That's what we're working with. Probably the key to getting the deck started is going to be the 6 cracked Dragon Balls. These guys are pretty interesting. When you activate them, you draw 1, and then you place the card into your Z energy from your drop area. But you can't use them in your Z energy to pay for non-Shadow Dragon effects. So that is going to be our Z leader. I'll go over that once we get to our Z deck. But we do run 6 of those because it's kind of the whole theme of getting your leader awakened. And most of the time, more often than not, you can end up awakening on turn 1 or turn 2 at the latest. The unison of choice that we run is going to be SS4 Gogeta Power's Connection. This just outperforms the Omega Shenron Unison that was built for the archetype. When you play it, you look at the top 3 and add any red card among the top 3 to your hand. On +2, you play one drop battle card from your hand in rest mode. And then on -4, activate battle, the Unison gets plus 15,000 in double strike for the battle. So this Unison actually does a lot. We play a lot of 1-drops in this deck, so just being able to kind of cantrip them out or send them out to do whatever we need them to do is absolutely perfect at that. So we run 4 of those. Kind of getting into the Shadow Dragon aspect, the first Shadow Dragon is going to be Haze Shenron Gathering Evil. It's a 2-drop, but if your leader is a Shadow Dragon card, it becomes a 1-drop in your hand. So you can, for 1 energy, play this guy. On play, his auto is you get to draw 1 card, and then you can choose up to 1 cracked Dragon Ball from your deck and place it into your Z energy. So if we're sitting on 5 cracked Dragon Balls in our Z energy, and we need to get 1 more in to get awakened, you play this guy, you draw your 1 card, you send your cracked Dragon Ball into the Z energy. Then it has an activate battle, limit 1, where you send this card to the drop area, either from hand or battle area. Choose one of your Shadow Dragons, and it gains crit for the battle. So we can give our big triple striker or our big double striker crit for the battle, which is absolutely amazing. The next kind of 1-drop is the Oceana Shenron. This has the same permanent that the Haze Shenron has. As long as your leader is a Shadow Dragon, its energy cost is reduced by 1. Has the same effect when you play, draw 1, place 1 cracked Dragon Ball from your deck into your Z energy. So again, if you're sitting on 5 and you need to awaken, you go on ahead and cantrip one of these out, get your draw, send the cracked Dragon Ball. And then where Haze gives critical, she is activate main. You choose one of your Shadow Dragons, send this card from your hand or battle area to the drop area. Choose one of your Shadow Dragons, and it gains barrier until the end of your opponent's next turn, which is highly important to protect your dragons from particular types of removal in the format. It's really hard to remove the big boy 8-drop. He's such a big-bodied creature anyway, and just giving him barrier protects him from generic removal. Most generic removal in the game. There are still a few cards that will get past that, but if your opponent has that, there's really nothing that you're going to do to keep them from popping one of those cards anyway. Kind of moving into the aggro portion of the deck, we've got Ice Shenron, Reanimating Evil. This is a 2-drop. It's got an activate main for 1 red energy. If your leader is a Z leader or you have 6 or more Z energy, play this card from your hand for 1 red energy. And then auto limit 1. If your opponent has 2 or more energy when this card is placed in the drop area from the battle area by one of your skills, play this card from your drop and it gains critical for the turn. So big takeaways there. You play this guy for 1 energy on the activate main. You swing with it. You get a 15k swing out of that. You use the leader's activate main to choose this card. Negate 15. It goes to the drop area. It then gets played from the drop area with critical. So you get to swing again, 15k crit. Your opponent will usually combo out of that. I like to pair that with Champa to make it a double strike. So 25,000 double strike crit is nothing to scoff at. Your opponent will most likely lose cards out of their hand to avoid taking a hit like that. The counterpart to that is Nova Shenron, Tenacious Evil. So has the same activate main for 1 red energy. If your leader is a Z battle card or you have 6 or more Dragon Balls in your Z energy, play this card from your hand. And then auto limit 1, kind of the same thing. If it's removed from your battle area by one of your skills, you choose one, or you play the card from the drop area and then you draw 1 card. So as opposed to getting crit, it's just a draw engine for the deck. It's one of my favorite cards to establish early on. One thing to note, your opponent's removal will not trigger these guys' effects because it does say your skills for moving them from battle area to drop area. So negging them out or KOing them by your own effects is the only way that you're going to get these guys off. So we do play 4 of each of those. Then we run 4 of the Syn Shenron, Dread Destroyer. This is a double strike, 20,000. Activate main for 1 red energy. If your leader card is a Shadow Dragon and is a Z leader, or you have 6 or more energy, you draw 1 card, play this card from your hand. So for 1 energy, we're getting a 20k double strike. And then auto, when this card swings, if your leader is a Shadow Dragon, or sorry, you choose one of your Shadow Dragon cards, KO it. When this card attacks, choose up to 1 of your battle cards or unison cards. It gets minus 20,000 power for the turn. So you're going to choose one of your Shadow Dragons, KO it, and then you're going to neg something 20,000 on the field, which will, proc the effects of Ice and Nova on the field. So just keep that in mind. If you don't want to swing and proc that auto and then choose himself to KO himself because he won't come back. So just keep that in mind. The next card that we're going to talk about is the Omega Shenron Unfeeling Retribution. This is the big boy in the deck. 8-drop, 30,000, triple strike, deflect. So your opponent's not going to be able to respond to it coming into play. You're going to play this guy for 2 energy if your leader is a Shadow Dragon or a Z leader and you have 3 or more energy. So 2 energy puts this guy on the field. It's actually really good. Permanent, when this card's power would be reduced, it gains 5,000 power instead, and then you negate that particular skill for the turn. And then activate battle. Choose up to 1 battle card or unison card. It gets minus 3,000 power for each of your Z energy. Additionally, if your leader is a Z leader, choose up to 1 battle card or unison card, and it gets minus 30,000 power for the turn. So most of the time you're going to be sitting on 6 or 7 Z energy, so that's either going to be minus 18,000 or minus 21,000. And then once you're Z awakened, you're going to be negging something else an additional 30,000. So it's a great way to pop something on your side of the field, neg out something on your opponent's side of the field. It doesn't, I wish that this hit leader cards. But unfortunately, it's just battle or unison cards. That would probably be a little overtuned if it also hit leaders. But the fact that you're able to put this guy out for only 2 energy is absolutely amazing. That wraps up the Shadow Dragon package. The next card we're going to look at is our super combo, which is Beerus Motivated Destruction. When I first started testing this deck, I was testing Raditz. And one of the things that I really noticed was that you sat on a fairly high life total because you don't drop your life down when you awaken. So you can awaken at 8 life, and then you're stuck at 8 life. And if you're drawing your super combos, if you're running something like the Raditz, they're dead in hand. Whereas the Beerus, because we're running all red cards, the Beerus is a guaranteed draw and a plus 10,000 regardless of what your life is. So these just tend to work a little bit better, especially if you're going for early game pressure to try to get crits in or something like that. So we run 4 of these over the Raditz. They seem to work perfect. I'm absolutely in love with this as a super combo, especially in a deck where you stay at a high life total for a large portion of the game. Next, we run 3 Brawly Crown of Retribution. This is one of the 1-drops that we're going to be tutoring out with our Unison. If your opponent decides to leave up multiple energy, you just +2 on the Unison, drop one of these guys for free. You get to peek your opponent's hand, know what they're working with. If they've got like a Dirty Burst or something in hand, you don't have to commit to your 8-drop play. You can pressure with the Dread Destroyer 4-drop, or you can pressure with more Ice or more Nova, whatever you need to do. So we do run 3 of these. It goes off quite a bit. And once your opponent knows that you're running Crown of Retribution, they're less likely to leave all that energy open. Then, because we are running Unison, I do run 3 Yamcha Merciless Barrage. I had someone tell me to run the Goku One-Hit Wonder, which when a card is negged, you just play it from hand at 15,000. But that card really relies on you being able to do something or being able to neg something on your opponent's side of the field, whereas Yamcha Merciless Barrage is completely reactionary. It can neuter 20Ks as they come in and make them 5Ks so their swings are inconsequential. It can do a bunch of different things for you, plus it's a 15,000 pressure piece once it comes back around to your turn, and your opponent is not likely to counterplay it. I just like this card at a 3 of. Sue me if you don't like it, but I actually really love it at a 3 of. Then we run a King Piccolo, the New Ruler. We run this at a 1 of. Again, because we are running Unison that tends to keep a higher than normal marker total, this card is pretty live. Sometimes this card is just a charge target and you're not really trying to get it out, but at other times, this can be the difference between winning or losing in a particular turn. So just being able to throw this guy out, 20,000 double strike, your opponent can't activate blocker on this guy's swing. It's really good. Our secret rare, we run SS Blue Vegeta Unbridled Power. What can I say? You don't really want to run the Vegeta Overwhelm. I think that card probably lends itself a little bit better to the aggro style of this deck. But the Vegeta here, there's often times where you can get your opponent down to 1 life, and just paying for playing this, activate main, rip the 1 life, and then your opponent loses the game at that point, comes up quite a bit. Or being able to swing with a triple strike, pressure with that. And you'll see there's multiple ways that we have to pressure with triple strikes, because we've got the Omega, we've got this, and then Omega is actually pretty easy to play. Besides being easy to play for only 2 energy, there's a way that we can play one for free on the Z Leader once we get there. Moving into our extra card lineup, I keep it fairly light because they're not combo pieces and we are playing an aggro deck. I run 2 Testing the Oppositions. These are just to take our life once we get down to 5. Again, I would run this at 3, but we don't go down on life when we awaken. We stay at 8, so by the time you're getting down to 3-4 life, you're really trying to close the game out and not trying to prolong it by saving yourself. So I only run 2, and then I mainboard 3 Violent Rays, because one of this deck's worst matches is the SS4 Goku Vegeta deck, and a Violent Ray can just shut down their turn. And there's a couple other decks that Violent Ray is actually really good against. That is the main deck. So we're going to go over the Z deck. And the Z leader is Omega Shenron Merciless Negativity. It's a double strike 20,000 base, which is huge right now. The Awaken is when you're at 3 or less life. It does cost you 7 Z energy to awaken, but you don't have to pay an initial energy cost to awaken, unlike other Z leaders. And then when this card attacks, you're going to draw 1. Activate main, you choose one of your Shadow Dragon cards, and up to 1 battle card or 1 unison. The chosen cards get minus 20,000 power for the turn. Additionally, you may remove 6 Dragon Balls from your drop area and play 1 Shadow Dragon from your hand. So the choice there is obviously going to be Omega. So you could have a turn where you play an Omega, you play a second Omega, you know, you're tapping 2 energy for one, 2 energy for another, and then you swing with lead on a double strike, you swing the 2 triple strikes, you activate battle, you clear out the fields, you clear out an ice, you clear out a Nova, you bring them back, you swing with those, then you activate main on your Z leader and play a 3rd Omega from your hand for nothing. So it's really strong once you get Z Awakened. Most of the time I end up clearing the game out before I Z Awaken. If I'm Z Awakening, it's probably to try to out combo from dying or something like that. But looking at other battle cards that we run, you can't run non-black battle cards in your Z deck, so you can't run stuff like the 1-drop Vegeta. It would be really nice if you could, but you can't. So we run 2 of the SS4 Goku Defender of Life. He rarely comes up. The big thing to kind of keep in mind is that he's a deflect 20,000 double strike. That's kind of the main thing on him. But on play, if your opponent is at 4 or more life, they take 1 damage. So that could potentially come up, especially if you're going to go into an Omega. It does only cost you 3 Z energy and 2 energy to play this guy. But alternatively, and the better option for our deck is Rush Attack SSB Vegeta. It's a deflect 15,000 when this card is played. When this card attacks, you may use 1 red card with 5,000 combo power from your drop area and a combo with its skills negated for the turn. Additionally, choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unison. It gets minus 15,000 for the turn. And then on activate main, it'll restand itself. It gains double strike, barrier, and plus 10,000 for the turn. So it can't be removed. It becomes a 25,000 double strike. Makes it really easy for you to clean out the game. Right now, that's all I'm running. You could run Pan, or you could run Videl, but Videl doesn't really do anything. And honestly, most of the time, you're shooting to play out this guy, and you're not really comboing a ton unless you're pressuring crit. So the chance that your Z energy gets enough to really play these guys is kind of contingent on how the rest of the game is going. But mainly, you're shooting to get this Z leader off. So that is the Syn Shenron deck. I know it was kind of a long profile. The deck is a ton of fun. If you like aggro, this deck would be right up your alley. I think this is overall the best red deck in the format right now. It's just that it loses a majority of the time to the SS4 Goku and Vegeta. I've heard people say that they have a decent win record against that deck, but in my testing particularly, the SS4 Goku and Vegeta takes games off of this, even though this is probably a little bit better against blue decks or something like that. So if you have any comments, let us know in the comments section below. As always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and as always, fluff out.